Houston faces unprecedented flooding in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl. Hurricanes keep causing lots of troubles in Texas, and Houston was the main victim of extremely heavy rains among all Texas cities. That storm, which never seemed to give way to anything else, led to devastating flooding that engulfed a huge part of the city and its surrounding areas. Whole communities are completely submerged, with homes, businesses, and critical infrastructure either completely ruined or very severely damaged. The Buffalo Bayou, a river that flows through the downtown of Houston, has flooded its banks, aggravating the floods and causing tremendous harm to the city's core. The 24-hour downpour has led to a rough gauge of around 20 inches of rain in some places, which completely paralyzed the city drainages. The streets have been converted into rivers by the floodwaters, making transportation almost impossible and obstructing rescue operations. Within all hours of the day, those who respond to emergencies are trying to evacuate the people stuck inside their homes. Houston Fire Department, along with National Guard as well as volunteers, uses boats and high-water vehicles for rescue operations. Hundreds of people have been rescued, but there are still many more who remain sheltered. At the local shelters, one can find all available accommodation being used by the flood victims. George R. Brown Convention Center is now a very huge shelter from the storm where thousands of evacuated people stay. Foods, weapons, and medical supplies are being given out by community organizations and charities in great quantities. Numerous roads and bridges are impassable. Consequently, public transportation services have been grounded. This has rendered hospitals to be inoperable due to power outages and flooding. As a result, some facilities have been forced to evacuate patients. Power utility companies are in the rush to restore power to millions of residents who have been left without it. The flood has caused harm to the power lines and substations, impeding the restoration process further. The water treatment plants are also finding it hard to operate under the deluge, which raises concerns about qualitative aspect of water in some areas. The inflation blow is anticipated to be massive in economic terms. Many businesses have suffered deep injuries, and it will likely be a long process before the area will also recover. With the residents and business owners now valuing their losses, insurance claims are expected to go up astronomically. In the wake of this tragedy, communities across Texas are coming together to support one another. Shelters have been set up to accommodate those displaced by the storm, and volunteers are distributing food, water, and other essential supplies. There is also an increase in the environmental concerns. The floodwaters may have carried hazardous materials which are potentially from industrial sites, and as for the long-term effects to the local ecosystems and wildlife, it is still not known. Though the challenges are so big, the people of Houston in their response today show something beautiful and extraordinary. Communities at the local level are joining forces to help each other out, and are giving shelter, food, as well as other provisions to those who have been hit by the disaster. Social media, which has been used to a great extent, is very instrumental when it comes to mobilizing people for rescue missions and also in spreading important information. At present, the local, state, and federal officials are in harmony with each other when it comes to disaster response. Federal President Joe Biden has green-signed federal disaster assistance for support of recovery measures in Houston and in other affected areas. At present, teams of the Federal Emergency Management Agency (FEMA) are on the spot, collaborating with local bodies in order to provide prompt relief and long-term recovery aid. Governor Greg Abbott has urged all Texans to remain vigilant and heed warnings from emergency services. "We are in the midst of a historic disaster," Abbott said. "Our focus is on saving lives and supporting the recovery process. We will rebuild stronger than ever." As floodwaters slowly begin to recede, the full extent of the damage will become clearer. Houston faces a long and arduous road to recovery, but the spirit and determination of its residents offer a beacon of hope. The city's resilience in the face of such adversity underscores the strength of its community and the unwavering resolve to rebuild and recover. Authorities continue to urge residents to stay informed and follow safety guidelines as recovery efforts proceed. The coming days and weeks will be critical as Houston works to overcome this unprecedented challenge and emerge stronger in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl. News reporting from Nature Reality.